Howdy folks, we're back. It's Adrian from Groundhogg, and I'm going to give you a demo of our companies add-on today. We're going to show you things like how to import your companies, exactly what the companies module looks like and what you can do with it, sending broadcasts and adding companies to funnels, company search filters, notes, custom fields, everything. So stick around, stay tuned, and we'll jump into it. So to have the companies module for Groundhogg, you got to have at least the basic plan. And once you have the basic plan and you have the Groundhogg Helper plugin installed, you can head on over to the extensions page of Groundhogg in your WordPress dashboard. And then we're going to search for companies. And then we're going to click install and activate. And that is going to activate the companies module for us. I'm going to give the page a quick refresh, and we can now see that in the CRM section, we have context tags and then companies. So we're going to go ahead and click on companies, and that is going to bring us up the companies list. This is where you're going to see all of your companies. I only have about 20 or so in here, but you can have thousands, if not tens of thousands of companies in here. Giving a brief overview of this table, we have the company name, and then we're also fetching their favicon from their website if they have a website attached, their address, their phone number, who the company is assigned to. So if you have any sales representatives within your organization and you want them to only see the companies of which they're assigned to those companies, you'll be able to see that here, as well as how many contacts are associated with this company. While we're also on this page, we're going to look over to, at the top, we have two buttons. We have Add New and Import. If we click on Add New, that is going to bring up the quick add form for companies. We put in the name, we put in the website, we put in the industry. So I'll just go ahead and I will put in Groundhogg. I'll put in the Groundhogg website. CRM software. And if you're putting in, if you're just putting in like a generic industry, this is actually gives you a list of potential industries to choose from for like agriculture, for example, or software development, or financing, financial services, for example. But I'm just going to put in CRM software. And you can put in their address, and then you can assign this to either yourself or any other sales representative that's on your site. And if we go ahead and create that company, that is going to bring us to the company record. Heading back over to the list before we finish off here, I'm going to go ahead and click Import, and this is going to bring up the import process of companies. So go ahead and select a file that has some companies in it. Let's pick this file here. And this will allow you to map your company fields or your CSV columns to company fields within the CRM, within the companies module. So the name, the website, address, contacts, anything else that you think is relevant to import. And you are also able to import to custom fields. I don't have any custom fields right now, but if you did, you'd be able to map to those. But we'll get to the custom fields later. So let's actually look at the company record. So I'm going to open up Groundhogg Inc. So we're going to start off over on the left-hand side here, where we have some quick actions like adding contacts. We can call the business. We can send an email to any associated contacts. We can merge duplicate company records. We can see details like the website, the phone number, the industry, their location. This links to like Google Maps, for example, so you can actually see where they are physically. And below that, we have the general settings. So you can change any of that information at any time. And then we also have this logo option here. So if you feel so inclined as to upload the logo for this company, you can do so. Go ahead and save those changes. And now we can see that our updated logo shows up there. Moving over to the right-hand side, that's where you're going to see the contact directory. So there's no contacts currently associated with this company. So we can either select an existing contact, so we can look through our CRM and try and find people that match the company. Or if we're looking for somebody specific, we can type out their name, we can type out their email address. We'll select Daryl, and we'll assign Daryl to this organization. And then if you're just adding a new company, for example, you're manually inputting people's name, you can create a new contact, and this will bring up the contact quick add form, which is the same one that you use on the regular contacts table. Put in all of their information, add any tags that you want, and make sure that their compliance information, their terms and conditions are all set. Alternatively, you can use an internal form from a funnel. So if you have an internal form that you prefer to use, you can select whatever internal form you want to use in order to add that contact. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add myself here quickly. If I can type. There we go. We can set the primary phone, their opt-in status. I'm going to add a tag. And you can also add their, so this is a company-specific information that only shows up while in the company record. You can put in their position, their department, and I can select management, as well as their work phone if they have one. And finally, all their agreements, and then create contact. And that's going to go ahead and associate this company, or sorry, that contact with the company. You're able to see their name, you're able to see their email address, their phone number, their position, and all of this is sortable. So I can sort by department, I can sort by position, I can sort by their contact information, I can sort by their name if I'm interested in seeing it alphabetical. So if we go ahead and hover over a row, we can see the quick edit. So we can pull up all of that, basically what we just saw, except with their information pre-filled out. And then we can also have the option to set as primary. And I'm going to get into that more even later. But essentially, every company can have what's known as a primary contact. And this is essentially your primary point of contact with that company. And that's going to be useful later for when we're looking at things like sending broadcasts to companies, or sending or adding companies to funnels. We're going to see why that primary contact actually matters. I'm going to go ahead and set myself as the primary contact. And then obviously, if you click on view, that is just going to open up that contact's entire profile within the CRM. We can see some search options. So we can search by name, search by phone, search by position, and by department. And then that will update the list. And because you can have hundreds of contacts associated with the company, and you might need to search through them. I only have 2, so I could see everybody. But in the event that you have lots of contacts associated with organizations, you can search and filter the list like that. I'm going to head over to notes, and exactly the same as the contacts notes module, and this works and functions exactly the same way. You can add notes, you can specify what kind of note it is, a call, an email, a meeting, whatever, and then create. And you can also upload files specifically for companies as well. Same as like there's a contact file box, there's a company file box. And so we can upload any files that we'd like to the company record. Bing, bang, boom. There we go. We can download it. We can whatever. Heading over to the contact directory again for a second, because I forgot to mention something. You can select various different contacts within the list, and then you'll see some bulk actions at the top. We can remove these contacts, or we can BCC all or CC all. So if I click CC all, that's basically going to send an email. I can compose an email and send it to all of those contacts as a CC, or I can do that same thing as a BCC, where the primary contact is sort of like the main recipient, and then we're BCCing everybody else. So that's pretty cool. The last thing we're going to check out on the company record is custom fields. So if you've been using Groundhogg for any length of amount of time, you're probably familiar with our contact custom field system, and the company's custom fields work exactly the same way. So over here on the left, after the general tab, you'll see a little add tab button. You can go ahead and add a custom tab, and I'm just going to call it custom fields because I'm not feeling particularly inspired. And then we can go ahead and add our custom property groups, and then go ahead and add our custom properties. So I can add a custom property group, for example, I'll just call it stats, and we can track things like a total number of employees, And we can set that to a number. And then we can add maybe another field about their years in business. And we'll set that to a number. We can add a field annual revenue. And we can have a whole bunch of numbers and whatever other kind of custom fields or important information about companies that you want to collect here in your custom fields. And there's no limit to the number of custom tabs or custom properties that you can have. So you can truly collect as much information as you could possibly ever need. So I'll go and stick some information in here. We'll say that Groundhogg has 5 employees. We've been in business for 8 years. And we make $1 million a year. Well, the only thing that's actually true there, just for the record, is 8 years in business. But do with that information what you will. So we're going to go ahead and save those changes. And then we're going to go back to our companies list. And then we are going to see how we can actually leverage those custom fields as well as some of the other search filters that we have access to. So while we're in the companies list, now that we have some fields and some companies in here, we see this plus button, and that's our search filters module, which you're familiar with looking through contacts and segmenting your contacts. And just like you can segment contacts, we want you to be able to segment companies so that you can actually leverage all of this information that you're collecting about them. So let's go ahead and add a field filter. You can see that we have some typical filters for stuff like industry, the number of contacts that they have associated, and then we see our custom fields like the total number of employees, the years in business, and the annual revenue. And we can see. So let's go ahead and let's do a filter on industry, and then we can say we want to filter anyone whose industry contains software. Go ahead and search, and that brings up Groundhogg because our industry is CRM software. We could also say we want to filter by anyone that has the total number of contacts that is greater than more than 3 associated contacts. And that brings up 8 items. We can add another segment where maybe we want to say, all right, well, the total number of employees, maybe not necessarily contacts, but just employees in general, is greater than or equal to 10. And then we can make a search on that. And then, so these are all or conditions. You can also add adjacent filters for and conditions. And you can get pretty sophisticated with these search filters. And the reason that this is helpful is not only just to be able to look at this list, but what if we want to actually do something with that information? So above the table, there's this more actions button. Go ahead and click that, and that is going to give us some options. So we can see that we have the option to view primary contacts. I told you that we were going to be talking more about primary contacts. So if we want to view just all of the contacts associated with the companies within the search filter, we can say view primary contacts, and that's going to give us the 8 primary contacts for the 8 companies that match that search. And from here, we can edit those contacts, we can export those contacts, we can send a broadcast, we can add them to a funnel, we can delete them, we can do whatever. Going back, we can view all related contacts, and this is going to show us a list of all of the related contacts to the companies that matched that search. We can edit those companies, we can export those companies, we can send a broadcast to 8 companies. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about sending broadcast to companies, because you can't technically actually do that. So what we do instead, if we click on send a broadcast to 8 companies, it's going to bring up the broadcast scheduler, something that you're familiar with by now. We select our email template, we go to the schedule, we select when we want to schedule it, and then you're going to see that there is a pre-filled segment here that says primary contacts for the selected 8 companies. So when we schedule this broadcast, it's not sending it to the companies, but it's going to send it to the primary contacts associated with those companies. Or if you click on it, you'll actually see there's a second option, all associated contacts for the selected 8 companies that match our search filters. So we can either send it just to the primary contacts, or we can send it to all of the contacts that are associated with that company. So that's kind of cool. That makes it really easy to communicate or send offers to specific industries or businesses that you want to work with, that you're tracking, that you're collecting information on. So we can go ahead and review that and then confirm and schedule. And then identically, if you want to add these companies to a funnel, so we say add 8 companies to a funnel, we can select our funnel, schedule, select the contacts, and then precisely the same, we can either select the primary contacts for those companies or all the associated contacts with those companies. So that's very, very useful if you're creating segments based on companies, or you want to send a specific offer to a specific industry, or you want to send a specific offer to data based on specific custom fields, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's pretty useful. I think that's pretty cool. And then finally, you can bulk delete companies based on those search filters. So if you're just tracking things and you're like, all right, we no longer want to service this industry, let's just get rid of it, then you can delete all of those contacts. The last thing worth talking about is the contact search filters that's added by the company's module. That's a mouthful. Try saying that 10 times fast. So we're going to head to the contact CRM. So just our contact list. We're going to click on filter contacts, and we're going to see that there's company specific search filters now here. So we can see if the contact is a primary contact of any company, that they're just related to a company in general. We can search by or filter by their company name, their job title, their department across all companies, their website, the company address, as well as the company phone number. And so if you wanted to create a segment of contacts specifically related to company information, then you can do that through here, which I find quite interesting, or quite fun and quite useful. And that is the company's add-on in a nutshell. I think it's particularly useful, especially if you're a sales-oriented organization, and you have sales teams and you're trying to keep track of all of this. It's also great from an organizational standpoint, especially if you have multiple points of contact within an organization that you're working with selling. And so that just about covers it. So thanks for hanging out, and thanks for paying attention. I hope that you find our company's module incredibly helpful for your sales activities. If you have any feedback on that, leave that in the comments below. I'd love to hear if you have any suggestions for improving this add-on or additional features that you might find helpful. Other than that, best of luck to you and your business, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.